Real attraction isn't about putting everything on display. It's about what you choose to keep back. It's about not giving your power away to just anyone. It's in how you carry yourself, steady, composed, fully present, without needing to beg for anyone's approval. Machiavelli grasped this better than almost anyone ever has. Power and presence aren't handed out. They're claimed, silently, with purpose, and without waiting for permission. If you're done chasing, tired of acting like you're auditioning for someone else's attention, and you're ready to become the kind of man who effortlessly commands respect, desire, and attention, then keep listening. This isn't about gimmicks or surface-level confidence. It's about cultivating a presence so strong, so authentic, that attraction simply happens, not because you try to get it, but because of who you've become. Stick with me until the end, because I'm going to share something most men never discover. Once you apply it, the way you move through the world will shift forever. So let's dive in. Machiavelli knew what most still don't. Real power and presence don't come from being loud or showy or aggressive. They come from strategic calm. They're earned quietly, with intention, never by asking for approval. And if you're ready to stop being the guy who chases, who waits to be chosen, who performs for attention, then what we're about to explore is exactly what you need. Because this isn't about pretending to be confident. It's about becoming unshakably grounded in who you are. Build that kind of presence, and attraction stops being something you pursue. It becomes something you naturally generate. Stay with me, because by the end of this, I'll give you one key, a mental shift that most men never find, and once it clicks, everything changes. How you walk into a room. How people respond to you. Permanently. All right, let's begin. Principle 1. Attraction is fueled by unpredictability, not perfection. Too many guys think being attractive means being flawless. Saying all the right things. Looking a certain way. Always being agreeable. Always polished. But that's a mistake. Machiavelli taught that being predictable makes you easy to control and easy to forget. If she always knows how you'll react, what you'll say, what you'll feel, the intrigue disappears. Curiosity fades. Respect crumbles. True attraction sparks when you stay just a little out of reach, not cold, not dismissive, but elusive enough that she's constantly wondering what's on your mind, what you're thinking, what you'll do next. In real life, don't spill everything about yourself on day one. Don't always text back right away. Don't make yourself endlessly available. Instead, be a bit unpredictable. Not flaky, just intentional. Because the man who isn't always within reach creates a pull. He draws others in. Principle 2. Stay centered, no matter what. Machiavelli understood a truth that most people miss. The man who controls his emotions controls the game. Most people live as prisoners to their feelings. One moment they're happy. The next, they're triggered. They're thrown off course by anything unexpected. But men who are truly magnetic? They stay composed when others lose it. They're grounded in chaos. They don't collapse when a woman tests them, teases them, or pushes their buttons. Because women don't fall for flawless. They fall for presence, the kind of presence that says, I know who I am, no matter what's happening around me. Principle 3. What this looks like in daily life. When she pulls away, you don't panic. You hold steady. When she throws out a challenge or a teasing remark, you don't get defensive. You smile. You remain unshaken. When she gets moody or distant, you don't mirror the chaos. You stay grounded, calm, and in control of your responses. You don't react to every shift in her mood. You respond when necessary and remain silent when it's not. That's what real strength looks like. And it's rare. Which is why it's so compelling. Principle 3. Let your life be larger than her attention. This is where most guys trip up, and it's not a small stumble. They end up orbiting their entire world around a woman. The moment she sends a message, they drop everything. They pour all their energy, focus, and emotions into one person they barely even know. If Machiavelli could see this, he'd have a clear verdict. A man who defines himself by anything outside of himself has already surrendered. You don't attract her by chasing her attention. You attract when she feels like she's stepping into a life that's already thriving, a world with momentum, purpose, and direction, not when it looks like you're begging to be a part of hers. What does that look like in reality? It means you focus on building your world first. Prioritize your purpose, your goals, your body, your finances. Develop friendships that aren't built on approval seeking. Create daily routines that don't fall apart the second someone gives you a little affection. Because a man who's already full doesn't come off as desperate. He comes off as solid, centered, and valuable. Here's one truth that separates men who get it from those who don't. Neediness pushes people away. Fulfillment draws them in. Always remember that. Principle 4. Rarity is what creates value, so be rare. Think about what makes gold, diamonds, or a one-of-a-kind painting valuable. It's not just their beauty, it's their scarcity. They're not found everywhere. You can't get them easily, and that's exactly why they're desired. Machiavelli saw this clearly. Being everywhere, being easy to get, that doesn't make you valuable. It makes you forgettable. When a man is constantly available, constantly saying yes, constantly trying to please, he drains his own value without even knowing it. In everyday life, that means you don't respond instantly to every message. You're not present at every event, not answering every call, not giving energy to people who aren't meeting you halfway. You give space, not to be distant, but to elevate your worth. You let others earn your presence. You let a woman earn your attention, your focus, your time. Because the second she senses that everyone gets access to you, you stop feeling like something unique. And when you stop feeling rare, the magnetism fades with it. So stay selective. Not bitter. Not arrogant. Just intentional. Because the man who is rare never needs to explain his worth, his presence says it all. Principle 5. True power is revealed in silence, not in arguments. There's something Machiavelli understood that many men never do. Arguing for respect makes you look weak. Real strength isn't found in convincing others with words. It's found in how you carry yourself. You don't need to explain your value, you show it. When someone misunderstands you, you don't waste breath trying to defend every detail. When someone crosses a line, you don't explode or get trapped in emotional spirals. You state your truth once, calmly, directly, and then you let your silence say the rest. Because when you keep arguing beyond that point, you're not gaining respect, you're bleeding power. In practical terms, if she questions your motives, you don't spiral into over-explaining. You smile, stay calm, and move forward. If someone doubts your worth, you don't argue back. You let your consistency, your actions, and your presence do the talking over time. When she tries to test you emotionally, pushing your buttons just to get a reaction, you stay calm, detached, and grounded. You don't waver. Because real attraction isn't built through arguing, explaining, or defending. It's built through energy, through the silent confidence of someone who doesn't feel the need to prove anything. The less you chase approval, the stronger your presence becomes. And that stillness, that unshakable calm, is exactly what makes women feel drawn to you, often without even realizing why. But let's make this practical. Because hearing these principles is one thing, seeing them in action is what makes it real. Here's how living with quiet, Machiavellian intention actually changes how people experience you, especially women. Picture this. You're at a party. Instead of trying to be the center of attention, cracking jokes nonstop, competing to be the loudest voice in the room, you do something different. You carry yourself with relaxed confidence. You speak only when you have something to say. You laugh when it's real, not just to blend in. You're not chasing the spotlight. And strangely enough, that makes people notice you more. Women glance your way. They start wondering, why isn't he trying so hard? What's his story? In your workplace or classroom, when your boss or teacher throws a sudden deadline, a harsh critique, or unexpected pressure your way, you don't flinch. You don't get defensive like everyone else. You nod. You take it in. And then you keep moving. No drama. No panic. No emotional reaction. People feel that. They sense your steadiness. And in a chaotic world, that kind of calm is rare and magnetic. On social media, instead of posting every minor thought, every frustration, every selfie hoping for likes, you become intentional. You share glimpses of your life that are meaningful, sharp, grounded, interesting. You don't overshare. You don't beg for validation. And that restraint, that deliberate silence, it makes your presence online feel rare, even valuable. And the result? The less noise you make, the more curiosity you generate. In dating, especially over text, when she sends something dry or distant, you don't scramble to win her back with paragraph-long explanations. You don't double text or overthink it. You pause. You shift your focus back to your own world. And sometimes, that silence, that refusal to chase, hits deeper than anything you could have said. She starts to wonder what you're doing. She watches your story. She reconsiders how she's coming across. In friendships, when someone tries to manipulate you into doing something you don't want, guilt-tripping, pushing, demanding, you don't argue. You don't defend yourself endlessly. You simply say, I'm not available for that right now. No extra explanation. No apology. No back and forth. And just like that, People begin to respect your boundaries because you're the one who set them clearly and calmly. What ties all of these moments together? You're not trying to impress anyone. You're not performing for approval. You're not begging for attention. Instead, you're moving with a quiet kind of strength. You're creating space. You're letting your energy, not your effort, not your explanations, do the work. And that's when attraction happens naturally. That's when respect and curiosity begin to find you. Because here's the deeper truth most people miss. When you stop handing everything out, your time, your energy, your emotions, people don't pull away. They lean in. They feel that something about you is different, solid, rare. And that's what makes you magnetic. It's not what you give. It's what you withhold. It's not how hard you try. It's how firmly you stand your ground. To wrap this up, remember this simple truth: build gravity, not noise. Stop asking, how do I make her like me? Because the moment you ask that question, you're already putting yourself in the wrong role, the role of the chaser, the performer, the one constantly adjusting. Instead, ask yourself something far more powerful. How do I carry myself, think, and move in a way that naturally draws her in, without ever needing to chase? Because real attraction doesn't come from trying harder or twisting yourself into someone you think she'll approve of. It's not about playing a perfect character or convincing her you're a good guy. Attraction comes from living with quiet strength, from a grounded presence that silently says, I know who I am. I know where I'm going. I don't need anyone to complete me. Once you start living with that kind of inner clarity, something shifts. You stop performing. You stop reacting to every mood swing around you. You stop letting anyone else's opinion determine your value. You become the gravity in the room. You're the one who sets the pace. You set the tone. You influence the energy around you, not through force, but through sheer presence. And women feel that instantly, without a word. You don't have to explain it. You don't have to put on a show, because true presence can't be faked. It's something you build slowly from the inside out. So stop acting out roles you think will make you more appealing. Stop trying to guess what she wants and morph into it. Start focusing on becoming the man you admire, the man who stays composed under pressure, who doesn't fold when tested, who doesn't rely on attention to validate his worth. Be the kind of man who's centered, who stands out because he doesn't chase. The kind of man who doesn't ask for respect because the way he moves commands it on its own. Let's build minds that don't crave validation. Let's cultivate a presence that doesn't chase approval. Because in the end, it was never about how well you speak. It was always about who you are when everything else goes quiet. What you stand for when nobody's looking. That silent, steady confidence that says more than words ever could. If this message resonated with you, don't just let it fade from memory. Drop a comment, even just a few words. It helps it stick, and it might speak to someone else who needs it right now. If this content gave you value, hit that like button and send it to someone who comes to mind, someone who could use this reminder. Trust that instinct. We're all out here trying to get clearer, calmer, and more grounded. So let's build minds that don't break, no matter what.